Hey guys, you're here for Bungie screwing up power again. The fourth time, I think. Bungie is adding +1 power drops for all portal activities, and that's great, and it's starting October 14th. However, Bungie is now doing mandatory power delta for difficulties, and that is actually the worst thing for the power grind. And some are saying this is great, but they're wrong! This is the proposed delta. Bungie is bringing everyone to 300 power on October 14th, so let's start there. Everyone is now in Master difficulty. Everything you do in the portal is now -20. If you put Touche, no HUD, and no starting ammo, you could get an A rank right now and be the same power as your enemies. But Bungie wants you to be -20. And before you start with the no ammo, there are free ammo boxes or rally flags in any activity that's actually worth farming. So look at this Reddit post. Never worse than -15. They farmed. They didn't go below 15. And there have been 3 or 4 buffs for higher scoring since the season launched. Bungie is removing what made player stakes special and are saying please run 4 modifiers instead. Might as well call stakes modifiers at that point. I don't think people realize that with the recent changes it's not hard to get an A rank if you factor in the 75 to 90% of a bar of score bonus awarded for doing an activity quickly, which you should be doing these things quickly. And it's the same for Grandmaster under the current system. At worst, you may have been 15 under if you utilize stakes, but now you're always 25 under. They say things will be notably easier for Grandmaster and Ultimate. That's a lie! It's a lie! And they didn't say notably easier activities, they said notably result in easier activities. But that's a lie because it'll never result in an easier activity for the ultimate difficulty. For 500 power, ultimate difficulty, they're always treating you like you're 470 power. It does not incentivize you to go beyond 470 power because getting an A rank score at 470 gives tier 5 rewards guaranteed. 470 is the cap as far as power level goes. There's no reason to go above 470. And every time I get a power past that, I'm making activities harder and harder for me and harder for my teammates. And they will be getting less score because of me. And I'm having to throw on more modifiers for no reason, no additional rewards, and no additional power. And I did this solo op in 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes, while being 15 over the enemies, not under. And no matter how many negative modifiers I add in the new system, it will not change that fact. I got the maximum amount of loot of the highest quality with the least amount of effort than I would ever get in this new proposed system. There will never be a scenario where I need to be 30 under right now in this system. Pressure Cooker and Touche, or Pressure Cooker and Extinction. Either combo gets me max rewards, and as I get closer to 550, I might need to have all 3, getting max rewards while being 40 over my enemies. Being 40 over is the reward for grinding power, the ability to grind for gear faster than before. I can farm things faster than before. I'm doing more damage than before. That is the reward for being above 470 power. Why you would want to go more than that. And they want to take that only benefit away. And Bungie is disguising a nerf to the game like it's a good thing. If I deleted all of my powerful gear until I was 470 power, if I went all the way back down, I would have an easier time farming the game. I could delete every powerful that I'm not trying to keep while I'm leveling up, and I'll get tier 5 loot faster because I refuse to level up. I'm deleting these powerfuls to stay lower power longer for less modifiers. That's a half-baked, flawed system, and Bungie knows that. A system that incentivizes you to delete your own powerful rewards. They want to nerf higher tier players to get them farming longer. And if they reset the power, then nobody will be farming next season unless you're bored out of your mind. If you're 550 power right now, you only need a C+ score to get guaranteed tier 5 gear. It's impossible to get lower than a C+ in this game if you do that ultimate difficulty. Meaning instead of being 50 over using no modifiers, they are now minus 30. It's not a fair system, and it's hurting players above 470 power. So don't go saying it's making things notably easier for Ultimate, because there is zero scenario where that's true, and you don't have any testers that would agree. And if you had any testers, they wouldn't have agreed. I've always been passionate about power leveling. I made a 45-minute video with every power trick in the book once. 45 minutes. Coming from the 2-minute video guy. Anyone who goes out today, use player stakes, and then see what rewards you get, and at most use modifiers that put you at the same power level as your enemies. You will have an easy time. So I'll test this currently. If I'm at power, I'm doing 88 and 123 damage with this machine gun. If I bump up the activity to minus 30, I'm now doing 39 and 55. I'm doing 56% less damage at minus 30, taking 50% longer to kill enemies. They're bringing back the bullet sponges, and in the current system, I'm running 15 over, doing 91 and 127 damage. That's 3% more damage, and I've got no weapon stat. Bungie wants us to do 56% less damage when all we want is rewarded for our effort, not penalized. The reward is the extra damage. If Bungie implements Power Delta in the Ultimate difficulty, they are nerfing players intentionally, and they're calling it a buff. And if you see this as a buff, you don't know what a player stake is, and you haven't made it to Ultimate difficulty, because it's obvious. And nobody at Bungie has made it to Ultimate difficulty, because it would be obvious. And maybe a point you could bring up is that the reward for leveling up is getting tier 5s at a lower projected score rating. Like, so I can get a C+ instead of needing an A. But that's an illusion, because as you rank up, they intentionally take projected score away from you. So to balance that, you get the same reward at a lower grade because they're only letting you get a lower grade for doing the exact same mission. It's a lateral movement disguised as them saying you get easier tier 5s for leveling up when you do the same mission and get the same reward, but you get less score for doing it, and you get a lower projected score, which means you get less power level as the reward. So by leveling up, you're getting less power and the same reward. And that's under the current system, not even the proposed system. It's already like that. And then I have to get started on the seasonal hub track. The powerful engrams drop at +0. They are no longer powerful when you reach 500. It's terrible. Then we have the event pass, like Arms Week or the Reclaim event, which includes +1s, like Iron Banner. +1s from that reward track. And Zavala, which is just a +2. And Primes are a +2. And you know what they didn't announce in the TWAB? Changes to that. So I could do a single reclaim in 8 minutes, and I will get 6 drops that are all +2 in the new system. That is if I had 3 bonus engrams. But my weekly powerfuls, event rewards, primes, and even Zavala are just a single +2. Without a meaningful buff to these sources as well, there will be no reason to do events.
Cheese forever, Guardian.